Hello, BookTube. I've had a bit of a long week of collecting books. I've just been book shopping a bit, and it's just one of those weeks where you just tend to find a lot of stuff that you've been looking for. And I thought I'd show you some of the stuff I've recently found over the last week, or however long it's been since I've done my last haul. And let's start looking. It's literally um, all Australian books except there's two non-Australian related books here, but we'll get to them when we get to them and all that. But we'll start off with the hardcovers first and like some of the main stuff that I'm excited for, because one of the first things I found was the journals by Captain James Cook. This is edited version of his journals. I recently have gone down a big Captain James Cook rabbit hole recently. I've read his two major books at like his voyage and all that stuff. I've done a reread of one of my favorite biographies ever, and I've just been obsessed with him. And I thought I may as well own a physical copy of his journals. I'm gonna do a video about James Cook soon, and I can't wait to do it. But this was just something to have. I love the notes. The introduction's really good too. But yeah, so I found this really good. I found a biography of Christina Stead. This is by Hazel Rowley. Here, I've read The Man Who Loved Children, and that's literally it. And I don't know why Christina is considered a major Australian author in that she was born in Australia, but then as soon as she became like an adult, she left and like literally moved to England, I think, and literally only came back here to die. And that's really, I know some of her novels were set here, and like The Man Who Loved Children was originally set in Australia, but it was changed later on. It kind of shows you how little we have here. But I have a biography of her. I literally know nothing about her life besides what I just told you. Then we have two Edith Wharton biographies here. I went through a bit of a rabbit hole with Edith Wharton recently. She's one of my favorite authors ever. Like, the fact she didn't make my top favorite books list is just absolutely insane. When, The House of Mirth, Custom of the Country, Summer, A Sun Up Front, Edith Throne, literally The Reef too. Oh, I could keep going on. But it didn't make the list, and I don't know why. But I literally know nothing about Edith's life too. Like, I only know her for her fiction. But this is by R.W.B. Lewis. This is his biography of her, and I got this, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it. But then I saw a second-hand copy for $2 of Hermione Lee's big biography of Edith Wharton too. It's absolutely massive, and I can't wait to get to both of them. And I'm tempted to go and read through all of Edith Wharton's novels, because I've only done like the major ones really. And I've done a bit of her poetry, but I didn't like her poetry that much at all. But I want to get to these two biographies at some point and reread Edith Wharton, because she's just one of the greatest authors to ever live, in my opinion. And so yeah, I found those. I also found another biography of Jorge Luis Borges. Here, this is by Edwin Williamson. I've never been a Borges person. He does literally nothing for me. I used to have copies of his short stories and all that stuff, but I never went back to him. He literally just done nothing for me. It's not that he's bad, but he's just not on that same wavelength as me. It's kind of like me and Proust. It's just not for me. But maybe I'll like a biography of him and get through him that way rather than his fiction. Maybe you'll be one of those authors. I don't exactly know, but we'll give him a try. And then the last biography I have here. I've been in a bit of a biography mood. I've got to put some of these back before we get to the next ones. But the last major biography I have here is of Mark Twain here. This is A Life by Ron Powers. Again, found this just as a hardcover. I recently went on the big kick of Mark Twain. I've been doing a lot of his nonfiction, rereading that. I love his travel books so much. I've read Huckleberry Twin and Tom Sawyer. They're fine. I mean, maybe if I was American, I would have liked them a bit more. They're not bad, but they're just kind of meh for me. And I always thought he always shines brighter as a non-fiction writer, and his essays are really good as well. But I haven't moved on with his fiction outside of his two main books. I just love his non-fiction so much. And Mark Twain had a crazy, crazy life, and it's about time I do a biography of him. So I have this one here ready to go. So that's the first pile. I'll move this out of the way. And then we have some John Shaw Neilson. He was an Australian poet in the late 1800s, early 20th century. This is a collection of his poetry, autobiography, selective letters, and includes an interview with members of his family. And that's really cool. I haven't dipped much into Neilson. I don't think... Have I read him for Poetry Thursday? I don't know. But he's a classic Australian poet. And I don't have much of him really, because I just don't see much of that. So I got it up as soon as I found it. And then a bit of a random one you may not expect for me to have is Tennessee Williams. What's this one? This is Cat on a Hot Tin Roof. And I know nothing about Tennessee Williams. Because my all-time favorite movie is Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf. Oh my god, Elizabeth Taylor and Richard Burton. Like, I don't even think they were acting in that movie. It was just them being chaotic. But I looked up, I was like, what's something similar to that? And someone said Tennessee Williams. And that's literally all I know. I know he's a bit more southern, like a southern writer. That's literally all I know. So we have this ready to go. Yeah, it is a play. I don't know what it is, but yeah, we have that. Then we have Australian short stories selected by Carolyn Goldsworthy. Yeah, there she is at the back. I got this because I didn't realize I didn't have an anthology of Australian short stories. I'm not much of a short story girly. I don't know. I would rather pick anything else. Give me poetry. Give me letters. Give me diaries. But short stories, I'd rather read novellas. I don't know why. They're kind of like the same thing. But this has in here. The introduction was really good. I did do a quick read of that. But it kicks off with Marcus Clarke, of course. You've got some Henry Lawson here. Henry Mandel Richardson, of course. Ethel Anderson. What else do you have in here? Christina Stead, she's in here. Who else? Patrick White. Oh my, we don't need to talk about Patrick White. I have a very rocky relationship with Patrick White. And it ends with Peter Carey. So again, some big authors in here. Then I randomly found a Ruth Park novel. This is Swords and Crowns and Rings. And you may know Ruth Park for, what was her big book she wrote? I'm trying to find it. I always forget her. And I've only read one book by her. Or can I find it? I don't know. Oh yes, she wrote The Harp in the South. That's the big one everyone knows. And I think that's the main one. But she also done a couple of kids' books and all that. But this is about like a young forbidden love with like one of them's like a dwarf. And that's literally all I know. It's all it says on the back. And this was published in 1977, so we'll see how we go. I'm always willing to give Ruth Park another try. Then we hit the non-fiction section, and the stuff I'm most excited for, really. We have Terra I can't say it, but this is some journals by Matthew Flinders. This is the Text Classics edition. You'll see these are very cheap, reprinting old Australian books. And, Matthew Flinders was an explorer from like 1796 all the way to 1803. I know of him because I've read so many history books, but I haven't read his journals. And it'll be interesting to see, considering all the traveling he went through, just get it from first hand. And what did he think of it? So we have that. Again, I'm working on that with a video. And another thing I literally just read today was an account of the settlement of Sydney Code by Arthur Phillip. Yeah, this is the what do they call it? The Australian Lives edition, famous Australian Lives. It's right there, and there's a big Alfred Deakin biography. Like I say every now and then, but this is Arthur Phillip because he's not in print anymore. I want to do a video about him. He had probably one of the most difficult tasks of setting up an entire colony. Not as prepared as she thought he was, but we'll get to that later. But this is his journals and first-hand account. Was it edited a bit? later on, yes, and all that stuff. But I really liked it. I thought it was really fun. And again, I'm going to talk about this more in a video coming up soon at some point. But the main thing, this is the last thing we're going to be talking about, but the main thing I found was a couple volumes of this little historian you may have heard of called Manning Clark. And he, back in the 50s and all that, done a big 6-volume history of Australia from the very start all the way, I think, to like the early 20th century. I could be wrong, but it's not in print anymore. If you can go back to my Auslit videos and watch me talk about histories of Australia, and I can't remember what video it was, but I talked about how he's literally wiped from history, and that you can only buy abridged editions of his big 6-volume history, and I have that. But recently I found the first 4 volumes in his history, and now I'm on the hunt for 2 more, the last 2. So here's book 1. Here it is in the big red. It's pretty simple, but this is from the earliest times of the age of the Macquarie. So this is volume 1. I'll leave it here. Volume 4, just ran. These aren't in order. This is The Earth Abideth Forever. This is volume 4. And then the last 2 volumes have like a really nice dust jacket on it, like a plastic clear thing where the other 2 don't, I just showed. And I'm like, I need to find dust jackets, and I don't know how to do that. But this is volume 2 here. And this is New South Wales and Van Diemen's Land, which was the original name for Tasmania. And so we're going to see a lot of Matthew Flinders in there. And then this is the last one here, volume 3, The Beginning of an Australian Civilization, right here. And of course, it's very nice and well kept for books that are literally 50 years old, nearly 50 years old. They hold up pretty well. But yeah, that's just a quick update of some of the books I found over the last couple of weeks, or ever since I done my last New Books and New Woes. And yeah, there's a very clear pool to non-fiction that I've noticed looking at all of these. And you're going to see some of these books and some later on videos. So look forward to that. And yeah, tell me what you think about the books I talked about today. And thank you so much for watching BookTube, and I will see you next time.